Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to It's Tea Time with Tirzah. My name is Tirzah Andrews, and today we have an interesting show for you. Today we're going to be talking about being intentionally you. Yes. And if you're wondering what in the world does that mean, well, we're going to let you know that as well. So stay tuned and we'll be right back right after this.
It's tea time, time to wash away your sorrow. It's tea time, gonna chase all your blues away. It's tea time, time to air out all your laundry. It's tea time, gonna help you make it through the day. It's tea time. What you
Again, my
say,
name is
girl?
Tirzah Andrews. Welcome back to the show. We're going to be talking about being intentionally you. What does that look like and what is it exactly? Right? So, intentionally means on purpose. So, whenever you do something, you want to make sure you do it on purpose. Now, we've made mistakes in life where we've done things unintentionally, like offending someone. And oftentimes, we have people in the world you think they did something to intentionally hurt us. They did it on purpose. Well, today on the show, we want to dive into examples from our own personal life about how you can be intentionally you. We're going to leave you with a few pointers, and I hope that you're ready. You've called your girlfriends, and everybody is seated and ready to rock and roll. You got your tea? All righty. So it's Tea Time with Tirzah, and our show is basically about reaching, restoring, encouraging, aspiring, create change all over the world, one person at a time. So if you are here today, I want to thank you personally for joining us because we're going to dive deep into this thing today. And I'm going to share some of my own personal experiences concerning being intentionally me. It started when I was about 8 years old. And my brother and I, we were sitting in the yard in the back along how you have a fence and everybody done trotted over it, walking through your yard. And including us, we did some of the trotting too. So we would sit in the backyard, me and my siblings, my brother James Rollins. I love you if you're watching. And I just want you all to know that this brother is the brother that connected me with purpose because he posed the question. We were sitting in the backyard looking up at the sky, watching planes go by, and all of a sudden, my brother says, "What if we were born for a purpose?" What? And that stayed with me. I guess I was about 8 years old, like I said. And as a child, what do you mean by purpose? What is your intention? Why are you here? I often ask that because as a vision of transparency, it is my responsibility, and I put it upon myself to be able to connect people to their purpose. So I am your vision of transparency. I will share my story and stories to come on other broadcasts. But today we want to make sure that you understand that being intentionally you means that you're living on purpose. You know, you are being respectful, you're being considerate, you're taking time out from your busy day to help someone. While you're at work, you go into the restroom and somebody had tissue on the floor. So you grab a paper towel and you pick up the loose tissue that's on the floor and you put it in the trash. While I was at work driving for cats, Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools, Warren, I believe, is his last name. I can't remember the first name, but Mr. Warren was a man that talked about the purpose-driven life. So you can look that up at your own leisure. However, it was during those times back in maybe 1999 to 2000, my friend Bobby gave me the series of Purpose Driven Life. And that's when I began to start paying attention to the things that were around me, where I was and what I was doing. And I started recognizing things. And I think it was Joyce Meyer who said, when you see things, talking about building character and doing things like that, it's always good to watch and observe your part in how things are flowing in the earth, right? And so, as a child, when my brother asked me what my purpose was, I always thought about that. And I always thought about it because no matter what job I had, no matter whether I was in school, um, I always try to make things better than the way I found them. Okay. So, a purpose driven life is a life that's lived on purpose, intentional, intentional. When it comes to you being intentionally you, you have to begin to recognize the things that are connected to your purpose, right? Going the extra mile is being intentional. When you see an elderly person crossing the street, do you help them across the street? That's being intentional. If you see a child crying, do you try to subdue that child? Even from a distance, make a face to try to make them laugh or something like this. Play peekaboo in line at the grocery line. He's irritated. Mom is frustrated. Being intentional. That's what being intentional looks like for me. Now you decide what it looks like for you. You might not be the person to be going in the bathroom and picking up the tissue up out of the bathroom floor. I heard my husband say one day, he said, when he go in the bathroom, it'd be a mess. And he's in there, he's picking up. I'm like, babe, I do the same thing. So being intentional means that you're going to go the extra mile to make things better than what you've seen. And you're going to do it on purpose. You're going to live on purpose with purpose. Yeah, you're being intentional. And when you're intentional, you're connected with your source. You connected with source. The source is your partner in living this life. And on my last show, I talked about the something said. So when you're hearing your higher self say, do this, that, or the other, you've been intentional by performing, hearing and obey what you heard, especially if it's going to do something to make somebody's life better. All right. So what is intentionally? It means to do it on purpose. Live your life on purpose with purpose. If you don't know what your purpose is, that's a whole nother dynamic, right? Finding out what your purpose is. And we're all here to bring unity, peace, forgiveness, respect, all those things are included in being intentional. In your marriage, are you intentional about making sure your husband's needs are provided for or your wife's needs are provided for? When you live in your life intentionally, are you having a conversation with your child, listening, mirroring what that person said, giving them the respect that they deserve, including you? You have to make sure that, number one, you're included in the respect part, right? You might think that that person needs to respect you first. However, you have to be the first partaker. Why? Because you're the example. You're being the example of what you desire to see in the earth. And what we put out, I believe that we get back. Showing love and kindness. Oh, that's intentional. A lot of people are not easy to love, but you have to show love intentionally. What you desire, you have to give out, right? And the next thing is you have to take it upon yourself to look in the mirror. And if you can look in your mirror and see yourself, that's huge, right? I mean, I've looked in the mirror plenty of times, but I didn't see my spirit when I looked. It's been a long time since I saw that girl. I'm serious. And when I looked in the mirror, after I had a consultation with my mentor, I went in the bathroom and I don't know what sparked it. My higher self, intention, purpose. I went into the bathroom and I looked at myself in passing, right? And it scared me. I literally ran out of the bathroom. I kid you not. I told her about it. I was like, oh my God, I saw myself and I ran. It scared me. What scared me was my face was so illuminated. I was like, oh my goodness. Yes. I was shocked that I could see myself. And I think what actually transpired is, you know, I had started this process of telling myself that I love me, right? I love you. I appreciate you, right? All these different things. And when I finally saw myself, I began to cry, right? Yeah. And so one day, like I was saying, went in the bathroom and I saw me. I was illuminated, or just I was just really extra bright. And I ran. It scared me. It was like, not scared me like, did I just see me? I see you, girl. So I'm going to let you know that this is huge. This is huge. Getting to know you, you know, what are some of the things as you begin to walk intentionally? What are some of the things you need to do in order to make sure that you're walking in your authentic self? Authenticity is very important. I am a vision of transparency. What you see is what you get. I have no secrets and I tell no lies. You know why? Because I started telling my own story. So, what we call the enemy won't have anything to hold over my head, so to speak, because we get afraid to be our whole self because we don't know how people are going to react. But that's a part of ego. You got to let that part of you go so you can step into your destiny, your purpose, walking alongside the source partner, which we sometimes call God, a higher consciousness, your higher self. In order to become the person that you're supposed to become, you got to let go some of the ego things. Ego is good. You're supposed to love yourself, self-esteem, you have to esteem yourself. And, oftentimes you don't have anybody in your life to speak good things to you. Right. So you got to esteem yourself. Yeah. Look in the mirror. And this is one of my points, by the way. When you look in the mirror and say, hey, girl, what you doing? What you up to? You feeling good? You okay? Now, somebody say, well, that's kind of crazy, Sister Tirzah. That's kind of crazy, Tirzah. But no, I've had moments in my life where I had to ask myself, are you okay? And wait for the answer. What to do next? And what should I be doing? And wait for the answer. You know, that's real stuff. That's real stuff, man. We have to do that every single day. I learned something from Dr. B. Serious, and he said, before your feet hit the floor, draw a circle, right? And what are you going to land into today? What are you going to purposefully, intentionally do today? Basically, I'm going to say towards your dream, towards your goals. What are you going to do? What are you going to do to make sure that your creative thought turns into action and be made manifest? What are you going to do? Because that's how we create. Everything that you have around you was created by thought. The way your house is, the way your children are, the way your relationships are. All of that is very important because at the end of the day, the energy that you put out is what's coming back to you. What you imagine is being created. So imagine great things instead of imagining the worst thing could happen. Start imagining a peaceful thing. Like, you pay attention to the inner thought, right? And if the inner thought is something bad, immediately begin to change what you see in your mind. It can be rape. No, reverse that. Not rape. It's conversation, it's understanding, it's leaving each other in peace. Yes. So if you dwell on being raped, you're creating that. If you dwell on being poor, you're creating that. Instead of doing what the word says, speak those things that be not as though they were. So you hear a negative thought, you turn into something positive, right? Very good. Immediately, don't wait, because you're purposing, you're intentionally creating your life as you do. You're creating your life. So if you want a nice home, start writing down what you desire your house to look like, what type of friends you want to have, You know what I'm saying? Be the example of what you desire to see in the earth on purpose, intentionally. Intentionally think of great things, intentionally serve, intentionally love yourself, intentionally respect yourself, intentionally connect with the God in you, having the moments and times that you desire instead of allowing somebody's thoughts about you control you. I did it for years. I did it for years. I did it for years. Being afraid of what somebody was saying about me. What are they going to say? I never forget when I wrote my first book, Phases of Life. I've since visited that book and republished it. I had over 500 mistakes in that book because I had a stroke at the age of 26 and I had to learn how to read and write all over again. And so with that thought, I still did it because it took me 20 years to write the book, right? And finally, Miss Betty, there was this lady at the grocery store. I used to work at Winn-Dixie, but I saw Miss Betty again. I believe it was at a Food Line or something like that, or Harvey's or whatever. And she was working at the grocery store. And so I began to talk to Miss Betty again after a long time. And she told me, Tirzah, people are waiting for you. And so I didn't know what that meant at first, but I thought about this book and I said, why did you say that? And it was obviously in her spirit. That was God speaking through her. I never told anybody about the book that God had told me to write, which is Phases of Life. Now, if you've gone to college and you've had some college or whatever, and you read that book, you would know definitely either I was trying to be nice here because you don't want to offend people with your words. I was either illiterate or uneducated, some might say, at first glance. They would think that. But I've had some college and God have really blessed me and gave me the opportunity to come back strong, to begin to read, to begin to go to the schools and all those types of things. Okay, so coming into knowledge of self, being intentionally you, scarcely went over that, and we'll be right back. Phases of Life was established in Mount Holly, North Carolina, June 11th, 2020, during COVID-19.
Those in need today. Phases of Life, hosting a community giveaway this afternoon.
During the pandemic, when people were losing their jobs, homeless, when people needed compassion and empathy. To see the smiles on the faces of those that receive donations is an amazing
Tirzah
feeling.
Andrews says she knows firsthand what it means to fall into hard times, and this is her way of giving back.
I've been homeless and I had to feed my kids at times when I didn't eat, they ate. There were times when I didn't have what I needed to wear, and so that's why I do the food and the clothes and the hygiene products.
Will you do your part and join movement? This is your opportunity to help to those that are in need. Please email us at facesoflife@gmail.com or call us at 704-713-0624 and join the movement.
People are understanding that we need unity.
Welcome back. As we were having conversations about brother talking to me about purpose and the reason why we were born, I just talked a little bit about how you can be intentionally you and living your life on purpose with purpose. I have some keys for you to ponder as you take your journey into becoming intentionally you. And these are some of the things that I've had to do. I touched on it a little bit. So to end the show, I want to be able to give you some keys to ponder on your journey to becoming intentionally you. Number one, I need you to look yourself in the mirror. I talked about that. I know it's a trip, right? So look in the mirror and I want you to affirm these things. Okay. Number one, I love you. Tell yourself that you love yourself. Few of my clients, I've had this experience with them where I told them, open your phone, go to your mirror like you're going to, to your camera like you're going to take a picture. This one particular girl, I won't tell her name. However, she has had some challenges in her life, and she was coming back from a trip, and she was feeling some kind of way about how this person was making her feel. And I said, well, you can't allow other people to make you feel a certain way about yourself. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and tell you how you feel about you. But I was with my client, and it was a young lady, early 20s. And so she took out her phone. I said, now open up your camera like you're going to take a picture. So take a moment to look in your camera, look in the mirror, talk to yourself, affirm things about yourself. I love you. I appreciate you. I respect you. Okay. Those are some of the affirming things that you can say to yourself to begin to walk into intentionally being you. Intentionally respect yourself. How about that? Intentionally. And don't allow the opinions of others, what other people want you to do. You know your life and what you aspire to be. So don't let them take over your life. Be authentically you, intentionally. Okay. So number two, mend your adversaries. I think you don't have any enemies, but when people mistreat you and talk to you any kind of way, they don't respect you, they leave you out of conversations, because they think this, that, or the other. No, you have to forgive them and move forward. The third thing I want you to do is, yes, respect yourself first. Don't look for other people to respect you when you don't respect yourself. You don't watch what come out of your mouth. You don't watch what you put on your body. So respect your body, respect your own opinion about yourself. Don't worry about the opinions of others, even me. If you feel like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing as far as living intentionally, don't take my advice. But if you want a better life and you want things to be better for yourself, you got to live your life intentionally with respect for yourself, taking time out for yourself. Think about the things that you desire, what you want, how you think. And I talked about, putting in positive input. So intentionally, on purpose, listen to things that's going to help you live a better life. Okay. And so that's all we have for you today, those 3 pointers. And so look in the mirror, to respect, appreciate, love yourself, value your own opinions for yourself, and make sure you continue to stay connected here at It's Tea Time with Tirzah. My name is Tirzah Andrews. It's been my pleasure to be with you today. Remember to be authentically, intentionally you. God bless you. I look forward to seeing you next time on It's Tea Time with Tirzah. Bye now.
It's tea time. What you say, girl?